Hey guys, Darren Kelly here, coach of Ocean Pods, and welcome back to another episode of my team review. On today's episode, we will be reviewing round 22, where there were some big scores and there were some low scores. It was a very topsy-turvy sort of round where a lot of primos were underperforming, and a lot of those players that we were thinking of trading out actually went big. So let's have a quick look at how my round went. So I scored the 23.04, so pretty mediocre in the end. Round rank of 18,000-ish, and did fall back about 400 spots in overall ranking, so not great there already. Let's go through. Let's just quickly talk. So on the Saturday, I really thought I was on for a decent round. A lot of my players had gone well, and I had avoided a lot of those players that didn't score well, particularly well. So talking your Errol Goldens, I didn't have him, and he scored a 69, so that was a good one not to have. And another one was a Dacos as well, who only scored a 71. I didn't have him after trading him out a couple weeks ago, so I was feeling I was like in a pretty good spot considering I didn't have those. But then, yeah, just the Sunday really killed me, where I'm pretty much two players down. So if you look at my team here, Trent Rivers, he probably gets my -3 this week. Just when you're playing 73% time on ground and you score a 41 and you still have a midfield heavy role, how do you manage that? It probably could even go just to Melbourne. They're just in some shambles right now, and that really hurt me. So, and it looks like I'll probably have to hold him as well, because I have a few other issues that I may have to deal with before addressing him. So, and this is when his run actually opens up. So I'll probably just end up holding him for the season anyways. But it really did hurt. 41, and his last four have been shocking since I picked him up. That was a terrible trade, and just another one to add to the collection of terrible trades this year, and just trying to be too cute with not having enough cash in the bank to do other things. Sometimes it's better just to get to the best player you can. But live and learn. I still think he might be a decent option for next year. He is in my black book for that, just to see if this role continues. But Petrarca will be back, or potentially back. He's actually talking about whether he is going to be traded or not, because he's not happy at Melbourne. But that's another subject for maybe preseason. But yeah, that hurt. And also Charlie Curnow, a 13, pretty much a donut, which actually a fair few coaches copped this week, given that Philip, who was the popular trade in, was a late out with illness, and that was quite late, and not many people saw the news. I even know the number one coach of the week last week didn't see it, and then copped a donut, and they have now dropped out of number one spot. So that's soul crushing, and that was probably my biggest fear last year when I was up there. Was, you got to be dedicating your life pretty much at this point to just make sure you're catching these moments every single time. I remember last year I had LDU, and he was a very late out. I think it was like round 20 or round 21, something like that. And luckily I did catch it, and I was able to still make the trades that I wanted, and add him a move off of him, and not cop any damage there. So, and did eventually go on to win it. So, but yeah, that's fantasy sometimes, and it's a bit unlucky. And hopefully you can climb back in the next 2 weeks and still claim it. Yeah, fantasy can be a cool game sometimes. But we'll go through line by line and just talk about some players, and we'll go through +3, -3. Look at my captains, look at my trade review, and then I'll give you sort of what I'm looking at doing this week. So looking at defense first, so a lot of 70s here, just looking at it. So Whitfield, Stewart, and Hayden Young being the 70, 71, 76, and 75, all pretty terrible. Considering how good Whitfield and Tom Stewart have been of lately, to drop 70s is ridiculous. Like Whitfield, we know he hasn't dropped below a ton since round 11, and was going beautifully. It was just Brisbane Lions, tough matchup. I don't know if he copped too much attention. I think he was just a bit underdone. Did have a bit of an injury concern. He did go down in the rooms, but did finish the game. So no concerns there, I don't think, this week. Just unfortunately wasn't able to get the marks and disposals that we are used to. But you're not looking at trading him or anything like that. I think he's fine. Same with Tom Stewart. From all reports, I still think he was still playing that midfield role quite heavily. If I quickly have a look at that now, it was a little bit down. He wasn't the first CBAs, but he still was the third CBA taker at the Cats, so I don't think there's any issues. Looking at his last two games as well, you definitely want him for those, so you're not moving off that. I think it was just one of those games, unfortunately. So not looking too much at that. Hayden Young's the one I'm probably looking at. If you can trade him out, he has been terrible for a little while now, probably since the bye. Well, he's just been sort of this 90 guy, dropped a few lower ones, like 37 back with the Swans was one that really hurt, and this has been his lowest since then. But he kicked a goal in this, and it was against the easiest matchup against the Cats, and he just didn't capitalise. No tackles, very inconsistent with his tackles. Like you look at, he can go 12 tackles, he can go one tackle, or even have 0 tackles, which is just not consistent. I don't know if it's a mindset from him or they're changing his role too much. But yeah, I think he's definitely one you can jump off of this week, given looking at these next two matchups against the Giants and the Port. But the two boys that really surprised, and one I'm not too surprised at, is Nick Martin. I did expect him to bounce back this week against the Suns. We know that they gave up plenty of points for halfback defenders, and yeah, this was definitely highly anticipated. So if you did listen and you didn't trade him out, you'd be pleased. He actually played 100% game time, which is kind of ridiculous. Definitely something we haven't seen too often from, a running halfback or even a winger such. Even the likes of Errol Goulden haven't done that just yet. So he's putting his name up there to be one of the best. So, but in terms of, do you just now hold up onto him for the rest of the season? Probably not. It definitely could be one that you want to move off pretty quickly because he does have the Sydney Swans and then the Brisbane Lions to finish off the season. So he is still heavily in my trade out targets if I can do it, if I don't have a few other things to do. And the other one who was surprising was Jordan Clark. He went 126, and his partner in crime, Luke Ryan, also went very, very well. So I don't know if it's just this game was temporary and they started chipping it around again, or I don't know, because they did lose both games. They did lose both these games against Essendon and did lose against the Cats. So I would expect the coach is going to get straight onto them again and be like, "What are you guys doing? Stop possessing the ball. Just get it forward. Play that fast game style that they were doing when they were winning." So I don't know. I'm not hugely impressed, and I wouldn't be trading either of these guys in. If you have them, maybe it's worth holding on to them just to see how they go. In saying that, they do have tough matchups against the GWS and Port though, so it's a bit of a one wait and watch. I think. I think it probably gives him some more time on my side, particularly just with a few other things to be doing, but not overly happily about it, to be honest. And yeah, we spoke about Trent Rivers already. That's very poor and ultimately would have cost me a lot of points there. If I had two extra players who weren't Trent Rivers and Kerno, I probably could have been looking at it, a closer to a 2,450-ish, and that would have been pretty above par. So, but yeah, ifs, buts, and maybes, who cares? This is what happened. Moving on to the midfield. Overall, did pretty okay. A few higher ones, a few lower ones, few mediocre ones. Zach Merritt probably start off his, I think, second highest score for the season. So I've loved him all year. Definitely probably going to be my captain of the year. Just considering I started him and been an awesome pick. Has had a few low games here and there, but his consistency is just amazing. Like his lowest score is 78, and besides that, they've all been 80s or above. So been amazing, averaging 109 for the season. Just a super easy pick pretty much all year if you have the money. You're very rarely going to be losing money out of him, but yeah, awesome to see that. Jack Steele was pretty disappointing with the 99 against the Tigers. Thought it was going to be a much better matchup, but just didn't really get his hands on the ball as much. Took plenty of marks and took a couple of tackles, but yeah, didn't quite get as many disposals as we would like to see. Surprisingly, Paddy Dow took a lot of these points away from him. Just Paddy Dow was everywhere in this game, and even if I pull up his numbers, which I shouldn't be doing in this episode, but this is my channel, I'll do what I want. He scored 101, 22 disposals, 6 marks, 5 tackles, and again, probably in the black book to look at again next year if he can break his way into the side and how that matchup along Philippou works besides him. So, yeah, there's another one there. Bont, Rosie, Butters all did probably about what I expected. Bont probably a little bit overs that in a tougher matchup, but did kick 2 goals too. Probably put his hand up for a couple of Brownlow votes there, even though they lost. Well, she was probably as expected against the Hawks. Tougher matchup, so I'm not too concerned there. His next two are juicy, so if you don't have him, I'd probably trade him in. He's cheap, and yeah, he's should bounce back to these sort of 130s. If not, just probably a bit just go 110. That's all I'm asking. Anderson was disappointing again, back to back to back, just 80s and 90s. Not what I've been asking for in this really good run of form. So yeah, disappointing to say the least. Oh, sorry, I got him back. So hopefully he can finish off the season strong. I still like him, but yeah, this week particularly at home should be a lot better. We know his average at home has been much better, so should hopefully get a ceiling score against Melbourne. So I do really like him as an option. Caleb Sarong's the one that really concerns me this week. I think he has to be the number one trade out target this week, given that the Bedford tag is probably 100% going to him. So he is highly, or most likely, going to be traded on my side. Luckily, he did kick that 103, so he kicked 3 goals in that because he was being given quite a bit of attention. So he did sneak forward and manage to kick goals. So it's good to see that he's added that to his game. But I don't think the Bedford tag is going to be as easy as that. So this could be a dirty 40 or a dirty 50, I think, from him. So I think it's one you want to trade out instantly. Unless we get confirmation it's going to someone else like a Brayshaw or a Hayden Young as such, then maybe move them. But I don't think we'll get confirmation at this point in time. So I think I'm just going to jump off him, given that he's more highly owned and I can get to a better player that can probably has a higher ceiling than rather than going to someone in the defense who can drop these 70s, which we have seen. So that's just my thoughts. Did have Humphreys on the side there with 69. Couldn't take it. Didn't really want to do anything with it. So, but he's one that you could definitely trade out soon. He's pretty much maxed out in cash now. But I'll probably just keep him as a looping option for the end of the year. The Rux is where I was really impressed. So ended up going the VC on Cherry again, back to back to back 150s. Awesome, and I'm very grateful that I've been able to have him as my captain for the last 3 weeks, and that's really what saved my score and why I didn't drop too much in this game. 168, unreal, and only his run only gets easier. Honestly, this week against English, who is a bit banged up, which he was in a moon boot traveling home, so bit of a watch there to see what he's going to be like if they bring in someone else to do the ruck shootings this week. So that could be even easier for the likes of Cherry. And Marshall, who would have been my C if Cherry did fail, and does get my +3 given that I did trade him in, so I'm happy with that. And yeah, he's going to be strong to finish off the season. Again, will probably be in captain consideration. So honestly, I can just see myself just captaining and VCing these two for the remainder of the season, which I don't think will be uncommon, but yeah, I think that's going to be quite easy to do. Another sneaky one I want to talk about is it possible that a ruckman can win the what's called the Brownlow, because we're having this discussion about midfielders and no one's really starring like making a big name for themselves. I know people are talking about Dacos, Bontempelli, but they've all had pretty below par years in my opinion. I don't think Bontempelli definitely hasn't been as big as he was last year. Yes, he's kicked plenty of goals and the Bulldogs have been up there, but I think Trelaw takes a few mini 2 points out of him, just being probably up there. So if it's not Bontempelli, then I definitely can see a ruckman taking it, and you would think it would probably be Marshall out of all of them. But in saying that, St Kilda have lost plenty of games, so maybe that does take some points out of him. Cherry, I don't think he gets this just yet, but I do highly expect Cherry to be snouted, so he'll be a ruck pig by the end of next year. You don't see these numbers very often. The stats already been going around that this last time we saw this was back in 2018 when Tom Mitchell did it. Before that, it was Tom Rodcliffe back in 2014. So he's in some good company, and I highly expect he'll be snouted by the end of next year if he can keep his form up, which I expect he can. He is just elite, and the first player to actually get to 1.1 million. So that's amazing for a player that's only 25 and has been an awesome pick all year. Onto the forward line, pretty below par again. So Zorko and Flanders both 80s. Difficult matchup for both of them, I guess. Flanders probably a little bit disappointing against Essendon. Would have thought that'd be a bit easier, but it was away from home, so to be expected, I guess. Did kick 2 goals in that, so probably saved it a little bit. Just didn't get the marks and tackles. I guess the tackles are the main thing he doesn't really get, but the marks he usually gets a few more. So yeah, hopefully he bounces back against Melbourne this week. I wouldn't be looking to trade him out. Caldwell is probably the interesting one that a lot of people are talking about this week. His last four have probably been a bit unders, 62, 72, and 86, with a 116 in there. I don't think I could do it, but in saying that, he does have a tough matchup in Sydney and then the Brisbane Lions coming, so it is a tough decision. But I still think his floor is still better than a lot of the other players that we've seen. You're talking Myers, who did go well this week, but you've got a few others like Wood. I know Dillamore. I think you have to grab him this week. Is one I would highly be looking at. So maybe that's a trade you can do. That's a downgrade as well. So if you don't have more, you could do a Caldwell straight to him. But then you've got the other likes like Simkin. His runs now come up and he's got a tougher finish, so you could jump off him. Rankin was very disappointing with a 45. Didn't quite have the role. Has a tough matchup to finish off the season, so maybe not. I don't think anyone has keys left. Mason Wood again was okay, but yeah, not super great there. Powell's the interesting one again, back to back to back hundreds, but pretty much was defense, midfield, and now forward. So, and that had glimpses of not being great, honestly. So I'm still not favorable on Powell. Unfortunately, I know people want to trade him in, but I just can't. I can't be promoting that at all. I do like Jeremy Cameron as an option as well. He's got 2 easy matchups to finish up the game. But yeah, Isaac Heaney had the best final quarter in my lifetime I've seen. That was just immense. I think he had like nearly 60 points, and he just went massive. He was just everywhere. The ball was just landing in his lap. So that was awesome to see, because it was just looking like it was going to be a mediocre 90 to 100, and then he just popped up for a 127. So that was awesome to see, and put a little dagger in those people that did trade him out this week, given that, yeah, after his last bit of form. So yeah, yes, and then bloody Kerner was the one that really hurt. Probably could have got my -3, but let him off, given that he got injured in that second quarter and then was subbed out, unfortunately. Did kick a goal early, and I thought, okay, he's on here, and then didn't really touch it, and gave away 2 free kicks, which were just silly as well. So very, very disappointing from him, and could potentially be a forced trade this week, given that that ankle could be season ending for him, and that could be the common over. So I'll have to wait and see what happens with the the injury reports before I make a decision on that. But looking at my trades from last week, so I did go Tim English to Roma. Really happy with that trade. That obviously gave me 44 points just there, and obviously I spoke about English already being injured and may be in doubt this week, so that really worked out. If anyone that still does have English, I still think you make the trade to Roma this week, or Cherry, whoever you don't have. Yes, you're paying over 200k now for pretty much both of them. So, but I think you're just gonna make the trade. They are putting points on your head massively at the moment. And then I ended up going Dowling to Angus Logan. Oh, I didn't know his name. I went to him over like of a Roberts, given that Kerner was in doubt to play on the Sunday. So I held my trade, and I was like, okay, I'll just grab this guy as a rookie just to have that cover in the coming weeks. In the end, I probably should have just traded Kerner with that injury concern, and could have got to anyone else realistically. Well, not anyone, sorry. I could have got to a different player and not copped to 13, but again, I could have probably just taken Sean Manners 62, but I thought I'd take that on. Surely he doesn't do worse than that, and it cost me 50 points. So, but what am I doing this week? I guess is probably to finish off the pod. It's a tough one, because obviously I would like to trade out Hayden Young, but I don't think I can this week, because Caleb Strong I think is the one that has to go, given that injury. Given that tag news. So he probably goes to either a Golden or a Dunkley. I don't have either of them. I think I like Dunkley's run a little bit better than Golden's, even though he has been a bit poorer as of recently. But these next two are pretty tasty. I think I'll go with that. If not, looking at Golden, He's got Essendon and the Crows. Crows are a bit tougher, and I assume it's at their home. I'm not too sure. Don't really. Oh wait, can I go here? Yeah, Marvel and no SCG. Okay. Um, tough. It's very tough. Maybe the 60k makes a difference. So I'll have a look later on the week. But for now, this is probably one of my trades. And then that leaves me 148k to move on. If Kerno's a forced trade, then I just need to trade him out. And unfortunately, I cannot get a Dylan Moore. That would have been very, very nice if I could get there, but I cannot. Maybe I go to a Jeremy Cameron to finish off the season. 2 easy matchups should be quite tasty. And he's been in flying form recently. Like besides that 33 in a tougher matchup, he's been hitting tons quite regularly. So hopefully he can finish off strong there. If not, I don't want to trade in Tom Power. I won't do it. Kennedy, no. Connor McDonald's been one that's popped up quite recently as well. A couple hundreds, 110s, 90s. It's just all these bloody forwards. But that run is just very, very nice. It didn't even hit the scoreboard on the weekend, but he still managed to have 12 marks, 25 disposals, 6 tackles. Hawks are just flying at the moment. And yeah, so that could definitely be a very good matchup there if I want to save some coin. But for now, I'll just lock in Jeremy Cameron, finish off the season. In saying that, if Tom Hawkins is back, because I believe he didn't play, I don't know if he will play at any point in time, but yeah, definitely could be a bit of a flag to not bring him in. No, he didn't play by the looks of it. Didn't kick any goals, so I assume he didn't play. But yeah, that would be my team for the week. Again, I'll probably just do these 2 as VC and C. I will provide my captain's choices later on in the week. But yeah, that will do it for this video. Please leave any questions and down below and leave me a like and subscribe if you can. Yeah, that would be it. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Bye.